Hello and welcome to Ways Women Lead, the podcast where remarkable female leaders share their personal journeys and offer valuable guidance on advancing your career as a woman in leadership. Join host Anna Gromadzka and her guests as they delve into various aspects of leadership, including diversity, equity, and inclusion. This podcast is brought to you by Six Group, a global executive search and leadership advisory firm.
Hi, welcome to Ways Women Lead. My name is Anna Gromadzka and I am your host. And today with me, I have a guest, Alisa Di Beasi, who's the Chief Human Resources Officer of PHINIA, a global automotive supplier. And we'll talk about Alisa's inspiring career journey through various industries, from robotics and electronics to more recently automotive transformations and cultural shaping. It'll be an exciting conversation. I've known Alisa for a while now, and it'll be a conversation with lots of energy. So Alisa, thank you very much for joining me. Welcome to Ways Women Lead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So again, that was already quite the introduction, but yes, I'm Alisa Di Beasi. I am the CHRO for PHINIA. I've been here since the spin and then some years with the former organization. I'm a human resource professional. I'm a mother, a wife, and a women leader. So super excited about being here and excited to at least dive into the questions that you may have burning on your mind.
Fantastic. So to start, let's get to know you a little bit better at present. Would you tell us a little bit more about your current role, your current focus, and a little bit more about what PHINIA does? I believe even if you operate in the automotive industry, not everyone actually knows PHINIA that well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with PHINIA. It was a spin. We were formerly owned by BorgWarner, and then before that, this particular group was with Delphi Technologies. We have some brands underneath the name PHINIA. There's Delco Remy, Delphi, and Hartridge to date. PHINIA is a manufacturer of fuel systems. We also have an aftermarket group. We're not just selling to light vehicle manufacturers, but also the commercial industry, industrial areas. We have a wide array of markets that we have delved into in the last years. We're 2 years since the spin. We just passed our second year anniversary. We're sitting with almost 13,000 employees in over 20 countries right now. It's manufacturing, engineering. We have roles in R&D. That's part of the attraction of being here. In the automotive space. I've been in other industries, electrical, robotics, factory automation, 34 years working in a wide array of organizations stemming from 500 employees to 200,000 plus employees. It's exciting at every level, and PHINIA gives me that opportunity to work across segments, markets. It's just thrilling.
Congratulations on passing the 2-year anniversary. Did you do any celebrations?
Everywhere.
Do you ever?
Yeah, it was
Because
exciting.
it used to be a division of BorgWarner, and then it became a standalone business 2 years ago.
Correct.
Well, so going back to what we started with, what's your current focus at PHINIA then, and how did that spin-off shape the focus you've had? Because you were in charge of shaping this new organization, its culture. So what's been your main focus over those past couple of years and now thinking of the future at PHINIA?
Yeah, so in the people space, well, actually in the business space, it was really getting the foundation right. What are our processes, systems, and resources? Who do we have and where are they sitting? Being in the middle of the spin, I'll say it's always hectic because you're busy and you're wanting to make sure you're doing all the right things for the people and for the business and for the customers, and really just stepping back and taking a moment to say, I have an opportunity to design and work for a company that we can touch, shape from this state, right? And what is it that we want to look like? And how do we want to address our customers? And where do we want to be? And what products do we have? And really just taking the time to do that. And we did do that. We did spend 2 years really identifying all those things, setting up culture, setting up our values, making sure we had the right values in place. Again, back to the processes and procedures and systems and tools. Are we doing the right things by our business unit? Is it smart? Is it efficient? Is it value add in the long run? And so keeping those those things in mind helped us really set up PHINIA. And the focus then for human resources, at least on the people front, allowed us to make sure, are we listening to our employees? Did we ask them? Did we actually step back and say, why have you stayed here so long? What makes this product that you're working on or this location that you're working in so special that you could stand back and say, I've been here for 50 years? How do I get you to say you're going to be here longer? How do I get you to feel like you can keep learning with us as a PHINIA, as a newer organization, still with these long years of anchored business in the back end, right? So yeah, that's what we've focused on, value proposition for our people and external, internal. So many things.
Was there anything surprising? You did this deep dive into understanding your people and culture and how you serve customers. Did you find anything surprising there?
Yeah, I would say, actually, it's a little bit sad, I would say, because I feel like they weren't asked for a long time around what do you need for your life balance, your work balance, your wellness, your what do you need? What do you overall need to be satisfied with your role here? And how do I help you get there? In that process of foundation setting up, taking the moments to actually listen to our people, because again, it's busy. And I'm not undermining anybody who has their regular role and they're busy going through their day to day, but actually stopping while you're building an organization and pausing for a moment to really ask those questions around, why are you staying here? Why did you leave, but now you're interested in coming back? How do I help you now that your life changed or your product changed? Just stopping in the moment and asking people who haven't been asked, which are our employees. So that I would say was surprising. Yeah. Listening.
And what were the key, you'd say, two initiatives that came out of it that helped you to
Uh-huh.
shape the culture you want for
Uh-huh.
FINIA going forward?
To choose the top ones, that'll be difficult. There's so many. You want to be something for everyone and you recognize you can't be, but you can definitely touch the things that can spread greatness. So a lot in the learning and development space. Spending time asking our folks, what do you believe our customers need? Staying on top of technology, bringing back PHINIA University. So not just in the technology space, teaching our employees product technology, but also on the leadership side. That's just about to kick off. Hearing around how they need to keep learning to raise their hand and be encouraged to apply for other jobs in different countries, different functions, different arenas, and being able to take the chance and the risk to do that. Really focus there in that learning and development space. The other part was being the organization that listens to the people and finding the support that they need, either professionally or personally. And that was creating things around mentorship, reverse mentoring, mentoring partnerships in general, buddy programs. So supporting the organization with developing those types of processes and protocols to create exposure, to create a voice, to create another arena for our folks to go to. And the third thing we focused around was really using the tools that we have. HRIS is super important to our organization, albeit we're, just under 13,000 people, really increasing usability so our employees know that what they put in their profiles, what they learn and how we record it plays a part in our succession planning and our advertisements and our talking about talent and keeping that at the forefront. So if I have to choose three things in that space, those would be it, but there's still more. Just getting started. Like I said, it's been 2 years, and those are just some areas we've really spent time on.
And have you seen big change since the beginning and now looking at the culture? And what's your way of measuring or testing whether that change actually happened?
Yeah, I mean, we do the engagement surveys, we do pulse check-ins, we do all those things. But actually, what you get is the feeling. Really feel it. So I was just in one of our offices offsite, and a gentleman came up to me, and he was shaking. He's an engineer. He's been here for, I think he said 19 years. I'm going on 19 years, he said. And his hands were shaking. And I'm like, what's the matter? He introduced himself and he says, I've never in 19 years had a chance to speak to our leadership like we do today. Sit down and talk to our executive leaders, our site leaders, our cross-functional leaders. I've never had that opportunity in the last 2 years. I've had so many interactions that I just want to say thank you. And this felt amazing to me, these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm walking in another one of our locations just some weeks back, and I recognized someone and I said, "Oh, you decided to join us." And he said, "Yeah, I came back and I left, and we have something good here. I could feel
Mm-hmm.
it. The energy. And this is for me super critical and aligns with exactly those things, those surveys, those feedback, and seeing people leave and come back and being okay to come back. And people have left through the years before the spin, even after the spin, and they've tried other things and they've come back, and that's okay. And sometimes you've got to do those things. Also, these fireside chats we do them a lot. And our leadership takes the time to sit down and listen to see what are the needs and focusing around how to keep bringing and staying on top of what's best for our people and our communities
Mm-hmm.
and how to build from there. There's a lot besides pulse checks and surveys and data and retention and turnover. All those things are great. But if you don't stop to ask folks why they stay.
And so, from my conversations with you, I can tell that you're passionate and it comes naturally to you to be both strategic and to actually speak to people on the floor. And you told me the other day when we spoke that people send you letters. You get letters
Yeah.
every day from people from factories from all over the world. So it comes to you naturally to ask, to be interested, and to get the feel for it. What would be your advice to all the leaders who are trying to shape that culture where you have that visibility and you can communicate with people at senior and board level and also at shop level? A lot of organizations are looking for it. So what would be your advice to people who want to develop this approach, but also why should they do it? But I think some organizations maybe are still not seeing the reason why this is important. What would you say to
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Well, no matter where they're sitting at in the organization, they're touching some way or some part of the business. So everybody plays a pivotal role. And if you forget that or you don't acknowledge that people at every level play a part in the success of this company, yeah, or whatever company they're working in, you're missing a big piece of it. You're missing an opportunity to influence, to inspire someone. You don't know if that person you're talking to on the floor becomes the next CEO. You don't know if you don't give them the opportunity to shape them. And maybe it's because of my background and my parents. My parents both worked in manufacturing, one in the commercial side and one in the electronic side, and watching them, their journey and understanding what they've had to do to hold a career or hold a job, and really stepping back and knowing that what they did was really important. Whatever role that was in their 40 years of tenure at their companies, they did something to make a difference. And I think if you forget that as an executive, that you're really missing out, honestly. And I take that opportunity to share with our board, and I'll say uniquely, not just our executives here, they've all done it. We've all rolled up our sleeves and worked in some way, shape, or form in these jobs. We're not too big for our britches, is what my grandma would say. Remember where you came from, and taking a pause to really think about what everybody does to contribute to the success. That's what I do regularly, and I hold myself accountable to that. When we see something that comes out that's hundreds of pages and documents and forms, and we expect our employees to digest these things, I think to myself, would my parents understand this? Would my family members be able to digest what it is that this company's asking for? And if I say no, then I go back to the drawing board or ask the team to, right? And I think a lot of that is just keeping it real and knowing that there's others that contribute to the success of this business, wherever you're at, whatever company you're at.
It's critical in successful strategy implementation, isn't it?
It
Making
is.
sure that everyone is on board with it and everyone understands it to start with. But also there's so much knowledge within the organization at all levels. Sometimes the things that senior leadership doesn't see, employees at the different levels they can because they work close with the product, because they are speaking to customer on a daily basis.
Right.
There's so much source of knowledge for your strategy to make you successful. And there's been a lot of organizations that the leadership has been too focused on how they've done things forever and not
Yeah.
listened. And it was the beginning of a downfall of an organization where the employees somewhere below actually had seen it long in advance.
And I'll say I've worked for those companies. You've described them. I've done that. And I've worked for great, great organizations with maybe just leaders that forgot. And that didn't resonate with me. And I'm glad I was able to find a company that allowed me and its leadership team to foster that, to foster more of that truth, that locations and our people are actually contributing really at every level. Everyone is important. Every single person has a role to play. And that's what makes this uniquely special. And having a spin and having that opportunity when I could have been sitting comfortable my other role. Life was still good there. However, when I raised my hand for this opportunity to apply for it, I was holding my breath a little bit thinking, wow, what am I going to do? Can I make a difference? Can I really do these things? And yeah, this leadership team that formed, the answer was yes, yes, yes from the get-go, and not forgetting about the people along the way and really talking to our folks about what you do at location is extremely important and meaning it. It's our culture as well. We have a model here that we have a global support team, but the locations foster the drive at the local P&L. They drive everything locally, and they only look back to us for support when they need it. And our board is well aware of that process. So yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky every day.
So you're clearly fulfilling yourself in your current role. So if someone wanted to reach this position and be able to make this impact, could you tell us a little bit about your background, your journey up until this point? I can imagine there've been a lot of challenging situations and lots of lessons you've learned. What were the most pivotal moments in your career that allowed you to be where you are today?
I took learnings from every role I've had. I've changed functions a few times, but everything anchored back to what we used to call personnel is now human resources. So I would say paying attention to really great leaders and really not so great leaders. And I say that because you meet so many wonderful people every day. I've followed and watched behaviors around those that I admired in some ways, or I thought, wow, when I'm big or when I'm older, when I'm in those roles one day, maybe I want to be just like you, or I want to be some version of you and put a spin on it. And I really did continue learning. I'm still learning every day, finding something amazing in someone. And I think, okay, I'm going to put that away in my toolkit and I'll use that later. Really staying the course, be courageous, raise your hand for doing something that's not in your comfort zone. Be okay with falling down and picking yourself up. Or if you're not strong enough to pick yourself up, let someone else help you. Asking for help was always difficult because I could do it. Being okay with asking for help. Those things are really important on continuing to climb the ladder and continuing to take on more responsibility. And by the way, I have 3 teenagers, I have 3 kids, I have a husband, I have 2 dogs, I'm on a board, I'm working charities, I'm doing all these things, and it's really hard to ask for help. So I learned early to do and find what inspires you, because then you want more and you wake up hungry for more. For me, I'm inspired by people, and this is such a treat to know what that looks like at such a young age, and to continue to raise your hand in a function that just is invigorating. I find everything, well, except recruiting, but everything there I need professional. It's hard for me because I don't want to say no, because I see possibility in people everywhere. And I'm thinking sometimes, and I kid around recruitment because it's so difficult, because you change someone's life with a new opportunity. It's such an impactful thing. You're putting someone in that could change an entire organization, that could move the needle on something that we've been waiting for, that you're saying yes to someone that maybe they change the world, they discover something new, they meet their spouse. And that for me is hard, because I see possibility in everyone. So to say no to someone, it's so difficult. I've knocked on so many doors for roles, and I'm so thankful they didn't hire me. I'm so thankful, because every opportunity I've had has led me here. I think back, wow, if I could just land a different role, if I could just try something else, and somebody would say, no, you're not qualified. Thank you so much, because I won't do that to someone else. I'm going to go gain that experience some way, shape, or form, and I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to keep trying. And I did. And so, yeah. But yes, Anna, that is exactly why. Outside of that, I love everything else about it.
It is
I don't
hard.
despise it. It is hard.
It is at least part of the job, rejecting candidates, and you always have to reject really good candidates. The thing that we want to always give back is at least constructive feedback to help the
Yes.
person learn something from it. So at least they come out of it with something positive, a lesson, an opportunity for improvement, or maybe a reflective thinking of that role just maybe wasn't right for me.
That's right. That's right.
And so you talk a lot about PHINIA's values. For example, one of them is inclusivity. You talk a lot about empowerment and mentorship. How do you balance creating a culture that is both inclusive but also results driven? You're a publicly listed company, you respond to shareholders, customers. It's so fast changing, automotive and vehicle sector in general. You operate in new technologies, right? You create fuel systems for alternative fuels, for example. So how do you balance results driven with inclusivity?
Yeah, it's a habit here. It's just a habit to think about people, reshape, form, gender, race, religion. We hire the best of the best where possible. Where we can't find the candidate, we encourage the outreach, reach harder. It starts with the hiring process and with the development pieces and with the everything around who we are. We really focus around our people, whatever they are, whatever gender, whatever race, whatever. It's really about, did we reach to the right audiences? Did we allow others to raise their hands? Have we invited everyone to the table? Have we asked and sought out opinions of everyone? And we do that regularly. We had an opportunity when we spun the company to say, what is it that's really important to us? And one of our values was inclusivity from the get-go. We don't bend there. We know that everyone has an opinion, has a voice, has a belief, has been wired some way that helps us be successful. So why not flourish that?
If people feel that they are trusted, if people have loyalty towards an organization, they feel they're paid attention to, they're being given
Yeah.
opportunities, then they want to give back. I remember I spoke to someone who told me about turning around underperforming team, and they said something interesting. Nobody wants to be the worst performing team. It's not like
No.
they are worst performing because they want to be everyone wants to be the best performing. So if you can tap into that by empowering people, then there's no reason why you couldn't drive stronger results.
Yeah, and with the inclusion, our people, again, it's fairly new since the spin, and it's still new for our folks to be asked, what do they want to do? What can they bring to the table? How can they stand up and be part of something? And I mean anything. We have scholarship programs, we have hackathons, we have internal competitions on innovation, we have excellence awards, we have all different types of teams. Our people can raise their hands and say, I have an idea. I'd like to be heard. I have a thought. I'd like to, support this in my community. Can everyone help me? I heard about someone struggling. Can we support them this way? What about this and what about that? And we can't be everything to everyone, but our people can. If we allow them and empower them to raise the hands or voices of the folks that work in their locations, so be it. Give them the platform for it. Been able to do that, and we're going to keep encouraging that. So we want to be the company that we would send our kids to work for. We would send our family members to work for. We want to be proud of not just the product, but of the people that work for this organization. And that's where we're at today, and we won't stop that journey.
That's incredibly inspiring. Talking a little bit about the industry as a whole, there's so much change in the automotive right now. What's top of your mind as a Chief Human Resources Officer of an automotive business? I understand automotive is the largest part because it's passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, they produce parts for industrial application, but the commercial and passenger vehicles, the largest part of the business.
Correct. And for us, the last years, not just the alternative fuels, investing there. We just recently had an acquisition. But as far as the technology and the continuing developing our people, it's really partnering with universities, partnering with schools, apprentice programs, internships. It's encouraging that cross-functional knowledge and know-how. And I mentioned earlier in the discussion, we have employees that work 50 years, and then we have employees that work for a few months and really focusing around that knowledge transfer, legacy product knowledge, new industry knowledge, technology transfer, AI coming into play in this. So it's really around how do we make sure keep the knowledge that made us who we are today in our workforce for tomorrow, that we're able to still create and seek out solutions for other alternative fuels, for example, and with the workforce we have that's been here for a while and also the inbound ones. So we have to focus around the learning piece. And that's where we're putting a lot of our effort.
A lot of organizations that I'm speaking to are telling me learning is so key now. The ability to constantly learn. You learn from new competitors, from smaller businesses, from new competitive markets. What would be your advice to instill an environment of constant learning?
For us, it's about encouraging our employees and giving them the time to learn, setting up our employees so they're aware that they have the ability to learn something new, but they also can make mistakes along that way without penalty. Builds that trust that they know that they can learn. They can put their neck out, if you will, on trying something new. This has been rewarding all the way around because we have people raising their hand for jobs and opportunities that they might not normally have done so in the last couple of years. They're looking cross-functionally, or even the employees that we've had here for years working around how to transfer their legacy, how to transfer that knowledge that they've worked so hard on, letting them know that there might be something else for you. Pass that on, build your successor, build that legacy. We spent a lot of time in the last years, not just building the foundation, but reminding people that we're in it together. So you don't have to hold it. You don't have to keep it all yourself. You can pass the torch and feel okay with it. And there might be something else on different function, different role. Just letting them stay hungry for it. That's all.
So it's fostering that culture of psychological safety, and it's so important that the whole leadership team is aligned on this. As you said, that you've been constantly or regularly having conversations around it, and it's important that you then trickle that down across the entire organization. Otherwise, it just won't work.
Well, they have to see it too, right? So they have to see people moving in the organization. You can't just say it. So we have our strategy board, our executive team. We've had promotions from within the locations. We've had employees being encouraged to apply for plant manager roles, for example. They're are key to our business, and really encouraging our plant managers to promote from within for someone to take that first time role. Um, and they've done it. And being in a plant, losing your operations leader to becoming a first time plant manager, that's really difficult. But our folks do that. They promote from within, encourage that development, help the employee raise their hand to try something else. We've had HR folks go into sales and be great at it. We've had engineers come into HR. We've had just great success stories, and we're able to share that with our employees. We've had folks that changed from one line in the operation to another, to working on an automated line from manual labor to now programming a machine to get something done and giving them that space to do it. So that's the important, letting them know that it's happening around the world and sharing that. We have an intranet that just kind of captures the stories, and we encourage our employees to tell their stories about their journey and how they got there today.
Really inspiring, because a lot of organizations are talking about it, but I'm not sure if all the organizations have yet been able to implement such culture, ensure that everyone walks the walk and talks the talk when it comes to creating that culture of psychological safety, of empowerment, of giving those opportunities to various people. But there's a little bit of risk taking with that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I had a discussion with one employee that they grew up. They took on different opportunities, and one said, not so long ago, it's too much for me. I want to go back to the role I was in. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And unfortunately, as human resource, we know some of those roles get backfilled sometimes. And I'm like, I don't have that role for you now, but let's see what we can find, or let's see what we can do. So the risk also is that you end up somewhere that maybe isn't part of your passion or isn't where you thought it would be. We also have the chance to reflect and find out, well, what might be better for for that person at the time, and how do I help them make their decision, because it's really their decision. And then in the other sense, we've had some of our, and I can say even some junior talent, senior talent, mid-career talent, they've raised their hand, they've grown up with us, they've left the organization, tried something else, and then they recognize it's not what I thought it was going to be. I'd like a similar, combo role somehow, some way, and they bring back their ideas to us. So we welcome it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So we're just thankful that our folks feel brave enough for the most part, right? There's always going to be some that aren't ready yet, and that's okay. We just got to keep making sure they know there'll be opportunity for them.
What's the one advice you would give to aspiring leaders today, to young talent that is aspiring to leadership position, C-level position one day? What do they have to learn?
I would say really finding a fan of yours. Be a fan of someone else's. Support others. You'll be supported in those journeys. Be present. If you hide behind a screen or you're not in and people don't see you and they don't hear you, they're not going to nominate you to be on a committee, be on a team, try a new job. Be a fan. Let someone be a fan of yours and ask them to promote you. Ask them, hey, if you hear of any roles, sign me up. Let me know if there's a committee I can be on, if there's extra things I can do to make a name for myself. I'd love to do that. I've had great mentors along the way. So mentorship helps, and that they, in the end, can help promote you and be a fan of yours.
What was the key lesson you took out of mentorship? In which moments did mentorship help you the most in your own journey?
I've had such amazing mentors. I still talk to my first boss. I'm so lucky because I've had leaders in my life or mentors in my life that have challenged me, that have challenged my thought process, that allowed me to see different things. And yeah, I've been up to tasks that I didn't like, challenges around labor and being in HR. Everybody says, cut this, cut that, cut training, cut people, cut processes, and cost cutting time. I mean, I've been working for a long time, 30 plus years. And during those years, they had economic uncertainty. And I remember reaching out to my mentors at really difficult time saying, I can't do this. I can't go look at these folks and tell them, this is going to change or this is not going to be good enough anymore. And I need help. It was around, you can do it because you can do something different with that. You can change the workforce by teaching them something different and help them change from a manual labor to an automated labor and upskill people. You can change it by helping out the community and helping push infrastructure through so you can bring talent in, and just really challenging things that you think, I was file clerk, I was attendance keeper, I was payroll person, I was whatever job I did during those along my journey. It was always about challenging the thought of the way it's being done. And my mentors always said, like, can you do it faster? Can you do it smarter? Can you do it more efficiently? Do you need to do it at all? I'm like, I don't know. I was told to do it. Well, do you need to do it at all? I'm not sure. Let me ask that question. Let me think. Does it matter today? Does it matter in 10 minutes, 10 days, or 10 years? And I shall focus on the things that matter in 10 years, because then you can create a process around those things. And my mentors really, and I have had several of them, but one I still talk to even within the last weeks. And he taught me to really step back and think about the decisions you make and everything you do. Does it impact people? And if the answer is yes, then think about how they'll receive it, how they'll feel about it. And so many stories, so many challenges or obstacles that I've been able to go to them with. And it was always about put the people first in that thought and you'll come to the best decision. And I've done that all these years and I still do it. And sometimes they're tough decisions and sometimes they're easy because you sought out the people perspective.
As you mentioned earlier, it's important to feel comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? It might not always be easy to be challenged.
Yeah.
And if you can't do something, just say it and ask for help.
And you don't know everything, right? I absolutely don't know everything. I lean on my team. And that was another thing I learned from my mentors along the way, because I was young one day and I thought I knew everything. And I, a little overzealous and try to become an expert at something that wasn't for me. I would just learn to lean on my coworkers, learn to ask for support, learn to ask for help. You don't have to know everything because we have great people around you. If you acknowledge that others can be a resource and a support for you along your journey, then ask them for help. People are inclined to do so. Some maybe not, but then you can always help them in return.
There's got to be a first and a role model of certain
Yeah,
behavior. You can
that's
be the
right.
first one.
Don't let anyone else burn down your candlelight.
The lesson from you is definitely focus on people. Organizations are made of people. And you said it really nicely. At the end of the day, if you're making a decision, is it going to impact people? If yes, then how? And then you have to think about this decision through that prism.
Correct. Even with bad news or reductions or restructuring, I mean, let's be honest, in HR, you have this difficult tasks to do. You can't make everybody happy, but what you can do is do it with dignity and grace and offer support. And going back to the learning, you can introduce the new way of doing things so that the person can seek out different opportunities. It's about encompassing, do we have the right benefits and compensation? Do we have the right structures? Do we have the right promotability? It's just always questioning yourself and reminding yourself that there's people involved in the things that you're trying to do. That's important.
Without people, we're not going to have successful organizations.
That's right. And, it's not something that I forget. I'm so thankful every day.
We can have best product in a high growth market, but if you don't have people who are aligned and willing to go the extra mile and think of a company while they do it, then it's not going to work.
That's right. If you treat people fairly and you understand what they need and you offer it to them, they will innovate for you. They'll feel safe to create, be creative, and they'll feel okay with coming in and showing up and bringing their whole selves to work. And that's really important because you only have people for a short time. It's their choice. And we really recognize you have a choice every single day to be part of this company. You can be somewhere else as well. And that we know that you chose us. So let's spend our time wisely. It's part of your career journey. And then before you embark on something else, maybe we help you grow and you help us. And that's okay.
It's a win-win.
That's right. That's right. It's a win-win.
Thank you very much for all these insights. It's been really, really interesting to go into a little bit more depth of how you lead. I get that energy from you every time I speak to you, and the passion, it's transcends. But it was really interesting to hear how you foster that within the organization. It's really inspiring. Thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure to have you on Ways Women Lead.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
That's it for this month's Ways Women Lead episode. But there is plenty more insightful and actionable advice from where this podcast came from. Check out our website on www.six-group.com if you'd like to know more about how to build and develop diverse, inclusive, and effective leadership teams, and how to progress your career as a leader. See you next time.